Few bloodlines in this valley trace as far back as those of the Dickinson family. The arc of their interest and impact in the Kanawha Valley begins in 1784 when Colonel John Dickinson, a veteran of the Battle of Point Pleasant and a resident of Bath County, Virginia, owned 2 tracts of land along the Kanawha River. One he sold to Joseph Ruffner. The other, just over 700 acres, lay in the area of present-day Malden and Bell. Before his death, the colonel deeded the property to his sons-in-law, Samuel and John Shrewsbury, who settled here about 1798. The brothers bought additional land, built farms, and operated a salt business. They invited William Dickinson, Jr., their brother-in-law, to join them. Salt was critical to survival. Before the invention of refrigeration, salt was used as a preservative for meats and produce. In time, this 10-mile stretch along the Kanawha River became the largest salt-producing area in the antebellum United States. And the Kanawha Salt, or Salines region, acquired a reputation for its strong, pungent taste and superior qualities for curing butter and meat. At its peak, from about 1840 to 1850, more than 50 furnaces lit the night sky. In the 1860s, the salt works were in ruin, damaged first by a flood and then by the Union Army. After the Civil War, William Jr.'s son, John Q. Dickinson, made his home in Malden and rebuilt the family salt enterprise. John Q. was a towering figure, literally and figuratively. A commanding 6'4", John Q. was an astute businessman, referred to by the family as the Great Acquirer. He expanded their holdings with extensive interests in coal, gas, and oil properties in Boone, Kanawha, Fayette, and Raleigh counties. He was directly interested in enterprises in 28 states, Cuba, and the Philippines. In April of 1867, the Dickinson family founded the Kanawha Valley Bank. Although the family controlled the majority of stock, they were prohibited from serving as officers because they were ex-Confederate soldiers. So the first bank president was a trusted family ally, Levi Woodyard. After a few other family members held the position, John Q. became president of the bank in 1881. He served in that role for 45 years, working well into his 90s. Bill Drennan, who authored The History of Kanawha Valley Bank, wrote this about him. John Q. Dickinson built the family fortunes on a base of good sense and square dealing. A former office boy recalled, "One day at the bank, I heard him dictate a letter to his secretary. It was short and crisp. 'Dear Mr., your note is past due. You know this. Attend to it immediately. Yours truly, John Q. Dickinson.'" From a 1926 magazine, if one man could be singled out as having done more than any other individual for the industrial development of the Kanawha Valley, that man undoubtedly would be John Q. Dickinson. Under his leadership, Kanawha Valley Bank became the largest and financially strongest bank in Charleston, and arguably in West Virginia. John Q. was a civic leader. He was the first director of the West Virginia Bankers Association and the Kanawha Coal Operators Association. He and his wife, Margaret, had 2 sons that followed him into the family business. John L. Dickinson and Charles Cameron Dickinson, known by his initials CC. The brothers continued the family's legacy as leaders of industry, banking, and philanthropy. After John Q's death in 1925, John L. assumed the presidency of Kanawha Valley Bank. He held that position for 24 years from 1925 to 1949, then became chairman of the board until 1954. During his 64 years at the bank, Charleston underwent dramatic change. Among his entrepreneurial pursuits, John L. and a close group of others incorporated carbon fuel, which developed coal fields up Cabin Creek. In 1922, he and his consortium of other businesses bought the World War I city of Nitro. He had interest in timber and more. Under his leadership, the bank outgrew its structure, which led to construction of a new headquarters at the corner of Courier and Lee. It opened as the tallest office building in the state in September of 1929. 1 month later, the stock market crashed. Stories about his steady hand at the helm guided generations of the bank's leaders.
We were the only bank that survived that crash in Charleston. He would walk through the lobby and greet people that would come in, and if they would and say, what are you here to do today? And he would nod to the teller to provide them their money. He wanted to take their money out of the bank. Then he would go over and tell them, when you feel absolutely comfortable that there is no better place for your money to be safe than the Kanawha Valley Bank, you bring your money back. Some people actually took their cash, walked around the block, and brought it back. So you look at that impact that John L. had on growth, increasing services, and at the same time, keeping the bank safe.
Like his brother, C.C. Dickinson was a leading coal operator and salt manufacturer. He was also president of Dickinson Fuel, a director of Kanawha Valley Bank and the Central Trust Company, to name just a few. He also was a director of the National Coal Association. After John L.'s death in 1954, C.C. was appointed as chairman of Kanawha Valley Bank, and he served in that role until he passed in 1963. Both John L. and C.C. were civic-minded and contributed their time and finances to a number of community organizations. John L.'s first major gift was to the Union Mission. Among C.C.'s donations, the Salvation Army. And both supported Boy Scouts of America, which was founded in 1910 on the principles of developing character and leadership. It's no surprise they were drawn to scouting, as both men embodied the tenets of the Scout Oath and law. Their involvement began as troop organizers and leaders in Charleston and Malden. One of those, Troop 5 at First Presbyterian in Charleston, continues to mold youth to this day. Scouting continues to be active in Malden as well. A few years later, in 1919, these brothers helped organize and incorporate the local council. In true leadership style, both served as council presidents, first John in 1920 and C.C. in 1938. It's been well over 200 years since the Dickinson pioneers first settled in the valley. Now, the seventh generation continues its influence, based on strong family values of stewardship, patience, integrity, loyalty, and responsibility to our community. The women of the Dickinson family tree have etched their mark on this valley as well. Mary Price Dickinson Rattray, the granddaughter of John Q., supported education, the arts, and the beautification of Charleston. She championed the green space across from the Clay Center, and the Arboretum at Spring Hill Cemetery bears her name. From 1980 to 1995, she served as a director of the bank founded by her ancestors. For many years, she was the only woman at the table. Mary Price's daughter, Nell Chilton, was another public servant from the Dickinson line. Nell was known for her insightful contributions on the many boards on which she served. Today, the entrepreneurial spirit of the family operates as the Dickinson Group. John L.'s interests are led by Nancy Bruns, who, along with her brother Louis, restarted the family salt business. C.C.'s descendants are led by Mary Price Reith. Both branches of the family tree are known for their generosity. The Clay Center and its art collection, the new Kanawha County Library, the CAMC Cancer Center are just a few of the landmarks made possible through their donations. The C.C. Dickinson Giving Circle and the John L. and Maud H. Dickinson Fund are managed by the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation.
I think people would be surprised to know that the family, through its many branches, have been very generous to our community, in a quiet way, and really giving back for the betterment of others. Philanthropy is often done very quietly, and I think maybe that helps with even a greater impact, because you're not caught up in the name per se, just knowing that there's a family there.
For 7 generations of investing in our community, for leading and living by good values, strong character, and citizenship, the Buckskin Council is proud to present the 2025 Good Scouter Award to the descendants of John L. Dickinson and C.C. Dickinson.